going on, people? I am Swaver, and this is the Opinionated Facts Media Group podcast. I'm joined by Illuminated Lenses and Coco Love. On this podcast, our mission is to build better relationships within our community through using the power of conversation. And today's conversation is going to be about moving in with someone for the first time. We're going to talk about that from a romantic standpoint and a friendship standpoint. So we're going to go ahead and kick it right on off. And I'm just going to start out by saying I believe that finances is a big deal when considering moving in with someone. And for my team, I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys in. Now, remember now, if you're listening, join in the comments or have a side conversation, but go through it with us. So for my team, what are y'all thinking? Like, is finance a big deal when you're moving in with somebody or considering moving in?
I mean, it's very important. If it's not the most important thing, it's the second most important thing. Like, it's really the first, because I mean, if the finances ain't straight, y'all ain't moving in. Y'all gonna get evicted. So really, you might not think it's the most important thing, but it's definitely the most important thing.
What you got on that, Coco Love?
I would say I think it's the most important. How are the finances understood by the person you're moving in with? Meaning, like, how important is having money to them? Like, are you dealing with somebody, friend or relationship aspect, that is quick to leave their place of employment or whatever, and they have no other ways of making money? You know what I'm saying? Now, if they're an entrepreneur and they got it, and cool, but monitor that. And I would assume that you're not moving in with anybody like super willy-nilly. So I would think, in my opinion, you probably shouldn't move in with anyone until you know them at least like a year. So in that year, hopefully you're paying attention to how they handle things like that. But I think, finances are a major aspect to that, because you want to make sure that this person has their part of the rent on time, rent as high as it is. And so if you don't have another $1,000, like the half of the rent to kick out, then both of y'all gonna be outside. They're not gonna just evict that person.
And it's hot. And let me tell you, it's hot as hell.
Right. And not only with the rent though, also, if you only have your part of the power bill, the AC is running because it's hot, right? So your power bill might be a little high. Right. And if you don't have their half because they don't have it, then both of y'all in the heat. You know what I'm saying? Both of y'all in the dark.
And let me tell you something. No relationship stands Alabama heat. Let me tell you that right now.
I'm telling you, because especially if they are the one and they're the reason why the power is out.
You get your ass whooped.
We gotta fight.
I'm whooping whatever $1,000 that you didn't have on that damn rent. I'm getting it out your ass. That's what happened.
Hey, so you guys, that is something to think about. It is, but also sometimes you have to consider how long. So like Coco said, she kind of said something a little bit, but depending on the relationship, I mean, and he even talked about this a little bit too, but if you're in a romantic relationship, it's a little bit different. The dynamic is a little different. But if you're a friend to somebody, you need someone to stay real quick and you feel like you can muscle through with them for a year, 6 months, or whatever it is you need, maybe that will work out. But that is true. It's very strenuous on romantic relationships, probably a little bit more than it would be just in friendships. Even when you're dealing with family too, it's something, man, when you have those deeper ties. So make sure you have your finances together first before trying to move in with somebody. And also, one other thing I want to tell you guys too is if you're in an apartment, then it's a little different, because if something breaks, then you could just tell the people over the apartment and then they'll come and fix it. But if you are in a home and you're renting a home with someone or something like that, then you guys have to come up with the money to pay for that stuff to get it fixed. It depends on if it's a lease or if it's just like a traditional rent. So that's something to consider too. You need to have extra money as well, because just having enough to pay bills or just having enough to pay rent, sometimes you need more. I mean, you got tires, oil changes, other things that will come up too. So just keep that stuff in mind, or something that breaks on the house, toilet get backed up or something like that. So just keep all that stuff in mind. The next thing I want to bring up is cleanliness and housekeeping. We're going to talk about cleanliness and housekeeping. I'm going to let them go first because I got something I want to say about cleanliness and housekeeping. What you got on that, Coco?
That's very important as well, because, and that's another thing that you compete in that year, I would say, of knowing this person. If it's romantic, you've been over to their place at some point, I'm sure, I would hope, and maybe even you spent the night, so you've been around to know kind of how they keep house on a day-to-day basis. And also keep that in mind for yourself. If you are messy, junky, if you just are not that organized and you have stuff and you know where everything is, but nobody else does, you one of them people, keep that in mind too. Like, are are you all going to mesh with that? Because that is going to cause some problems. If one person is used to a clean house, if they're used to not having dishes in the sink when they go to bed or whatever, it's going to be difficult for you all. You guys are going to you're going to butt head. And then you got two grown people, one of y'all are not a child. So it's not like, your parents saying, I want them dishes out my sink. It's not the same. So you guys are going to have a compromise of some sort, maybe a cleaning schedule, depending upon how you all get down. Now, if you have like your own, like your separate bathroom, and then if in a roommate situation, then it might be a little bit better. So is that person a smoker? Do they drink a lot? Do they have people over a lot? So these are things to consider too when you're moving in with somebody, because all of these can cause people to like have issues.
What you got, E? You got something on that?
This is another thing that can get your ass whooped. Let me tell you something. I better not come home and trying to look for a plate and all the plates dirty today in the sink or whatever. And then I say something like, you ain't wash the plate or nothing like that.
Rinse it off.
It's gathering and everything. And then don't get smart. Don't get smart. You know how folks be. They want to pop up at the mouth. They feel like you treat them like they ain't grown. Just be mindful now. Do unto others as you want to be done to yourself.
All right.
I'm sorry. I just want to touch on when he brought up plate. Also, because I do not play about my food. This is a side note. If you did not, on a roommate standpoint, if you did not purchase it, I do not need to see your lips wrapped around it. Okay. If I bought this cake or this cheesecake, whatever, especially when it comes to sweets, I will whoop your ass. I have been thinking about this cheesecake all day. And I remember I almost stopped and got me something sweet on the way home. But I said, oh, no, girl, you got that cheesecake in the refrigerator. And I come home and you're eating the last bite. You got to see me. OK, so
don't let me catch you in the act.
You got to see me. So let's buy our own things that we like. And at the very least, if we would like to try something that we did not purchase, let's ask. Let's ask before. Don't just think this because it's in the refrigerator. And that's roommate or relationship, especially not the last of it. I'm going to be upset.
And to add to that, just having an understanding when you come in to shared space, like who's going to do what, how is it going to work out? I think trying to understand that will help when it comes to housekeeping, because some people are better at certain things than others. Some people don't mind doing laundry, but other people hate it. Some people don't mind doing dishes, but some other people hate it. And just general cleanliness as far as like getting spider webs down, because they will form, and just sweeping and vacuuming and stuff like that. So I think all that's a major deal. So that's definitely some things to consider. So another thing we're going to go to now is relationship status. What you got on that, E?
Yeah, so that's at least the third most important thing. Like a lot of times y'all will get with this person or whatever, and y'all be together for like a few months, and then you're like, oh, we're gonna move in together. That's fine, but you also do need to think about what happened if y'all break up, because it costs money to break that lease. You feel me?
That's true.
So if y'all break up, you gonna have to thug that thing out until that lease is over with, unless one of y'all gonna come out them funds to break it, and most of the time neither one is gonna do that. So you really need to think about that. Like, I feel like you should move in with somebody if you feel like you can get to the point where you're gonna marry this person. You know what I mean?
I definitely agree with that. And I think that's something to discuss throughout as well, because things do change. I mean, maybe you do make the initial thought to move in with a person, but over time, maybe you are seeing some things that you like, you know what, this is not necessarily what I thought it would be. Especially if a person's not necessarily working with you, then it becomes very difficult to stay in a shared space, especially in a romantic sense. But I would say as friends, that also is the same thing. I've been in a situation before where I've lived with a friend and it was nothing romantic, but it's just some of the things that took place as time went on. I didn't like it, because shared space is very tricky, because when you're at home, you don't really know what it's like to share space with somebody. So you just automatically assume, well, it'll be okay because you don't know. But when you have to live with somebody and then take in all of their ways and their ideas and thoughts and whatever they're doing, then it becomes very challenging sometimes. So yeah, knowing where you stand is very important as it pertains to living together.
Yeah, I would say, like you guys said, pretty much as hard as it might be on a relationship standpoint, romantic relationship standpoint, it might be difficult to even have that conversation prior to moving in, but I think it needs to be had. Like, what do you think we would do? Talk to them or whatever and find out how much it would be, or kind of have a general understanding usually of how much it is to get out of a lease. It's usually like double your rent or more sometimes. And if you do that, also try to have a conversation and an understanding of what that's going to look like, so bringing people over, spending the night outside the house or whatever at that point, different things like that. You're going to have to be a real big kid then, I guess, because it's probably going to be difficult. That's a difficult conversation. It's difficult to even think about because you probably never thought you'd be in that situation, but it's something, because that's another situation where hands can be thrown if you don't have an understanding. So it's very important.
Let me wake up at 3:00 in the morning and I'm hearing you getting your guts beat open. Let it happen. Just let it happen.
I just feel like that's disrespectful, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, okay, I'm grown. Yeah, we are broken up, and so basically we're on a roommate thing. But even as a roommate, I'm not big on, like, I don't want to hear what you got going on. That's just me. I don't know. I think that's really disrespectful to bring somebody home and knowing that your ex that you just broke up with like a month ago or whatever is in there. Like, you couldn't keep it cute and go to that person's house or whatever. Like, I don't know. I think that's disrespectful. So yeah.
Well, I think that's pretty much what we got for you guys today, man. We just wanted to bring you guys a few things that maybe you want to consider. And I'm going to give you guys a bonus tip as well. Being with somebody that's not responsible, that's the first thing you should look at. Because even if they're not all the way together before you move in with them, even yourself, that's okay. But just a person that's able to handle responsibility. Because you got a lot of people that will tell you things that they can do, but when you look at them and see what they really got going on, if you don't see that they're doing what they're saying that they will do or could do, then you should take that for what it is. Don't just take their word and say, oh yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Because what happens is that you're putting basically your well-being in that person's hand. And if that person doesn't follow through with what they said they would do, it just leaves you out there. And you could be leaving something stable to go into something that's not stable.
Bonus tip: make sure you got something in your savings before you move in with somebody, because you never know. Folks act different. Soon as you, just like they say, you get in a relationship, folks start acting different the minute you post them or something.
But actually, no, that really is that's just a good financial tip anyway, though. Like that, have what they call it, a nest egg or emergency fund. So you should have an emergency fund anyway. But I understand most people that are roommating, I think, are like a little younger, like maybe their mid-20s or something like that, or younger than that. So they might not be in that place yet, but definitely use that roommate situation as a means to be able to save. Hopefully that is going to allow you to save so that you can have that emergency fund. But yeah, definitely, if you can have backup money, because you're depending on another person to uphold their financial responsibility. So you just don't want to be outside.
Like he said, man, it's hot as hell. So anyway, y'all, that's what we got for y'all today. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We put a lot into this, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, I am Swaver, joined by Illuminated Lenses and Coco Love. This is the Opinionated Facts Media Group podcast, and until next time, peace.